Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Goals Podcast. I'm Dawn, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. This podcast is dedicated to bringing people's stories to light and hearing their journeys of inspiration and self-growth. But it's also about connection and knowing that you are not alone. Each week, I get the chance to sit down and talk with an amazing soul, someone I've had the blessing of either meeting or following in my life. I am so grateful for my guests. Their openness and their vulnerability, it is unmatched as we share heartfelt conversations together about both their challenges and their triumphs. I hope that you can grab some inspiration and connection from my guests and their stories. I know I certainly have with each conversation. What an honor to sit with these brave souls. Everyone has a story, folks. And every story matters. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Soul Goals. My name is Dawn. So glad you're joining us today. I get to talk to an awesome athlete. I love talking to athletes. I'm just going to tell you, I totally said this before we hit the record button. I just geek out when I talk to an athlete because it takes so much to get to that point. This is Miss Jordan Kane, originally from Rhode Island, now a junior, right? A junior at University of California Berkley as a Division I gymnast. And that is right there as a 20-year-old junior that's a gymnast and a very successful one too, yet to boot, is a feat that is extraordinary in its own right. The amount of hours, the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into that sport, it's overwhelmingly huge. I just can't express that enough. And if you are a gymnast and you're listening to this, or you are a parent of a gymnast, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But my hope is that today Jordan can talk to us about her path, about recruiting, a little bit about being a student athlete at that high level, as well as the challenges that she's had along the way, moving across the country to do her sport, as well as injuries that she has gone through. And it's interesting because I think the thing that drew me to you when I saw you online was you talked about your faith and how much that meant to you and has gotten you through. So we'll get into all of that in our talk and let Jordan tell you just exactly how all that transpired for her. But gosh, so many wonderful accolades. And to get to the point where you are, you have to be a level 10 gymnast and a level of 1 to 10. I mean, 10 is the top. So again, we can explain that all day long, but it's just know, everybody, that's a big deal. You're a big deal, Jordan. It's a big deal.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, it's really true. You've worked very hard. And I'm so honored that you took the time today from practice. You're right in the thick of things. You just finished regionals, you said, and nationals are happening. That's a big deal too. I keep saying big deal, but it's a big deal. But without further ado, welcome to the podcast today, Jordan Kane.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're able to talk to us today in between all of your crazy schedule with not only practices, treatment, and school, but life in general. So yes, I'm glad you're here today. So glad. I want to start a little bit about what sparked your interest in gymnastics in the first place? Because I know a lot of times when you are a gymnast at an older age, it's because you've started it very young and it's been just a passion. So curious, give us the feedback on how it is that you got started in it. What sparked you along this path?
Yeah. So I actually started when I was about 3 years old. I did dance first, and I used to actually cry the entire time until we got to the tumbling.
So my gosh.
So my mom was like, maybe let's try a different sport. This doesn't seem to be working for you. And I just really had a lot of energy, and she felt like gymnastics would be a good place to start, would be a nice, safe environment to do that. And obviously clearly loved tumbling because I used to stop crying at that point.
Oh, you love, so that was the fit. That was exactly it. What kind of dance was it? Just a general dance?
Yeah, just very general dance, did all of it, little ballet, had the tutu and everything, and didn't really like that too much.
Not my jam.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. 3 years old. And did you, did your mom, because she look back probably now and go, "Oh, yes, that's the choice. That's what we needed to do."
Yeah, so I actually did a lot of sports when I was younger. I did soccer and taekwondo as well as gymnastics.
Oh,
So
wow.
kind of dipped my toe in a little bit of all of it just to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And I actually did soccer for a good amount of time. I
Mhm.
stopped probably when I was like 11-ish,
Okay.
and played competitive soccer too. So I really liked it. That was a pretty
Yeah.
hard choice for me as well. But
Mm.
I always knew in the back of my mind, gymnastics was the way to go.
Yeah. Did you that was hard for you to give soccer up? I mean, and how did you
Yeah.
balance that? Like, well, I guess you were still in elementary school, but still, that's a lot.
Yeah. I remember I would finish up school, go straight to gymnastics,
Mhm.
leave gymnastics early, straight to soccer practice. And it was just nonstop, consistent routine, but I loved it.
Yeah. Well, as long as you loved it, and it sounds like you had a really supporting household that
Yes.
brought, that came along with you and that was on board with all of it, which is huge, huge
Yeah,
supportive. Yeah.
definitely was. So grateful for my family and all of them.
Yeah. Did you then, once you were 11 and you gave up soccer and you were like, this is what I want to do, it's this gymnastics gig that I'm after. When
Yeah.
did you know that, like, I want to go further?
Yeah, I think I was always a very competitive kid.
Okay.
And, anything that I did, I was going to put my heart and soul into it. But when I was like probably 12, I was a first year level 10. And I kind of in the back of my mind was like, I can do something with this. It was a pretty young age, I would say, to be a level 10 at that point. And
Yes.
I loved it. And I used to look forward to going into the gym every single day, working hard, working for something new. And
Mhm.
it was just something that never was boring for me. It was
Yeah.
always this fun aspect of my life. And I feel like that's what has gotten me through this entire time. I feel like
So
it's
it's
very
been
difficult.
fun.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to go into doing something every single day if it feels like work. That's
Right.
not what it felt like to me. It was
Right.
always fun.
Well, and I like I said in the intro, like there's 10 levels in gymnastics and
Yeah.
you're 12 and you're a new level 10?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
my
no,
head
that
is
was
like, "Oh, that's
yeah, that was
hard."
very exciting.
Super exciting. I just keep fixating on how challenging that is because there's so many hours that go into getting to that point. And it sounds like it was a natural gift for you for all the different things. You're talking about you're competitive, but you're also an athlete because you were involved in all the different things too. I love that Taekwondo was in there too.
Yeah, no, that was also really fun. I feel like it was good that I got out of it before head kick started. I feel like that would have been that would have been pretty hard. But
Yeah.
we used to do like the board breaking and the sparring and all of that.
Okay.
So I had a fun time with all of it.
Did you break boards?
I did. We even used to do some gymnastics in there too. So
Yeah.
would do a back handspring and like kick the board on the way down.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look at me. I'm just geeking out. It's amazing. All of those years of gymnastics, super, super big amount of hours in the gym. You made that switch and decided this is what I'm going to do. And as a 12-year-old, you said, I figured, hey, I probably could do something with this.
Yeah.
What was your first uh, movement towards that? When did you have a conversation with your parents? Did you talk to your coaches? How did you get to that point where you went, okay, this is my path. This is what I now have to do to make that a reality for me?
Yes. So actually, at the age of 9, I was asked to go into the homeschooling program at my gym. So that
Okay.
kind of was where it started to become really serious for me in gymnastics.
Yeah.
I had no doubt that I wanted to do it. As soon as I got asked and my parents told me that I got asked, I was like, so we're going to do it, right? And
Yeah.
they couldn't say no. They were like, no, we're going to support you with this. If this is really what you want to do, we're going to figure out any way to do it. And that's what happened. So super grateful that they sacrificed a lot to give me that opportunity to be able to train more
Yeah.
and dedicate the time to gymnastics. So I feel like at that point, at age 9, was kind of a turning point in my gymnastics career.
Right.
I almost felt like gymnastics was so different than every other sport. Not
Mhm.
everyone could do it. So it almost
Right.
made me feel like it was like a next level, like mental ability,
Yeah.
as well as physical ability. So that was really exciting for me going into gymnastics.
Well, and the maturity that has to come along with that. I mean, even just
Yeah.
hearing you speak about that now, but knowing that at that young age that that there's something to this that I could actually do that would
Yeah.
be, this could be my future.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Definitely was. And I honestly cannot say enough about my JO coach. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly, helped me so much through the whole process and was just the most supportive coach I could have had.
Oh, that's great. So tell me a little bit about your recruiting process. When did that start for
Yes.
you as a gymnast? Because I know with
Yeah.
different sports, it's all over the board, all over the
Yeah.
calendar.
Yes. So it started pretty early, honestly, because my year, we got recruited very early. There was no rules. And
Oh,
they
wow.
started coming to the gym to watch practices when I was 12. So first year level 10.
Wow.
So that was really exciting. Just being a little girl and seeing a college coach there, I was like, wow, okay, maybe I can do
Yeah.
something with this.
Yeah, it's reality. It's
So
like
yeah,
hitting.
no,
God.
definitely was. So that was really exciting. And
Mhm.
I kind of knew I didn't want to make a rushed decision in that aspect. So
Yeah.
I honestly committed pretty late for my class.
When
Most
did
people
you
were committing eighth grade, and I waited till my junior year to actually commit.
Oh, 8th grade is so young.
Yeah. And I was
I
very grateful to be able to see a wide range of colleges and different campuses. So I kind of knew what each school had to offer and what I personally wanted.
Right. Yeah, and I think too, both of my daughters play collegiate, athletics, and the big thing that where they were always told and that we always kind of kept up front is this a school you would still want to be at and a team you'd still want to be around if you were injured, if you weren't able to be a part of it for some reason for a season or half a season, how would that still feel to you to be there? There's more to it than just your sport. Obviously, that's the vehicle that's getting you to this, but you want to be at a place that feels right, that has what it is that you're looking to do education wise too. And I think sometimes athletes overlook that. So good for you for not committing so early and being, okay, I'm going to look at all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly never thought I'd end up at Cal. It was honestly my dad who was like, yeah, send Cal an email, like do that. And I'm like, Cal? I'm like, really? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I knew that Cal was a great school academically. And
Yeah.
I was always very dedicated in my schoolwork and all of that. But it definitely scared me knowing how high caliber Cal was, just the name of
Yeah.
Cal. And then as I started to get older, I was like, I can do that. I can go
Yeah.
there academically, athletically. And once I met the coaches, the girls, the campus, everything felt at home. I knew
Yeah.
as soon as I stepped on campus, this was the place for me.
You just knew it. It's that
Yeah.
feeling, that instinct. That's great.
Yeah.
That's so, and
Yeah.
you were a junior when you ended up committing there?
Yes, I was a junior.
How many other girls in your graduating year did they take for your year?
There's 5 of us total, and we actually all lived together since. So freshman year, we were split half and half, and then sophomore on, we've all lived together since, and I cannot be
Oh.
more grateful for all of them. They're the best, and cannot say enough about them.
Oh, they're your sisters.
They are
Like
my
it's your
sisters.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, how has it been being across the country? Like, I mean, Rhode Island is like
Yes.
way east to Cal.
Yep.
How is that? How is that? Well, now as a junior in college, I'm sure you're like, okay, I got my routine. I'm good. I got
Yeah.
my feel. I got my team. I got my class. I got my jam. It's all good. But
Yes.
tell me a little bit about before you went. What were some of your trepidations? What were some of your concerns and, worries, maybe even?
Yeah. I think before I came here, I just didn't give it too much thought. I was like, we'll get there when we get there. And kind of didn't know what to expect, but just took it one day at a time. And I'm super close with my family. So I feel like that was a really tough part
Mhm.
initially, was just not being able to be there all the time. I think FaceTime helped the most. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the biggest part, was just turning to the girls as
Mhm.
my family here, knowing that my family was across the country, even though obviously I would talk to them every single day. We even call my mom several times a day, just
Yeah.
just to hear her voice, just to see her. But having all the girls here has been the biggest transitional help in that aspect.
Oh, that's great. Going into college, not only did you face going across the country away from your family that you're super close with, but you also were dealing with an injury that you had had. And I think
Yes.
that's one of the things that took me. I didn't tell you this before we hit the record. My daughter, that was the competitive gymnast, had a back
Mhm.
injury as well. And that was what took her out of gymnastics. And
Yeah.
ultimately, she went a different direction, which was much better for her. But the thing for you, which I think, and I'm going to say these two different things: God's perfect timing and trust the
Hmm.
process. Those two
Yeah.
phrases are like your mantras right there.
Hmm.
And I would love
100%.
to hear a little bit more about how that synchronistic thing happened, because you chose to have a pretty invasive surgery to correct an injury. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't have known anything about it if the timing of people in your life hadn't been what
Yes.
it was. Right.
Yeah. Kind of going back to that, one of my like second or third college visits, I had reconnected with one of my friends that I had done a camp with when we were
Mhm.
little. And that was pretty cool because I hadn't seen her in a while. And she has a sister who had some back issues. And I didn't know this until I reached out to her. And I was like, hey, do you know anybody who, maybe has some back issues and what they do for that?
Yeah.
Because at that point in high school, my back was getting pretty bad and I needed a different direction in terms of treatment that I was doing. I
Yeah.
had tried dry needling, cortisone shots, soft tissue, kind of just everything under the sun
Right.
to see if anything would just kind of manage the pain better than what I was doing. And her sister ended up doing stem cell and PRP. So we figured, let's give it a shot,
Yeah.
kind of last case scenario there back at home without obviously getting the surgery.
Right.
Because even the doctors at home had all said if I got a spinal fusion, I'd be done with gymnastics.
Oh,
And I didn't
wow.
want to give that up so fast. I wasn't ready for
Right.
that. I had committed to Cal
Right.
and I knew I wanted to push through and keep going forward and kind of stayed patient in the process.
Yeah.
So we got connected with that doctor who happened to be in Philadelphia, which
Okay.
is a 6-hour drive from Rhode Island.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
So my mom and I used to take the drive up in the morning at like 4 a.m. and go up there, do the injections. And that honestly helped the most out of anything I had tried and
The
really
stem
pushed
cell
my back.
injections.
Yeah, so there
Yeah.
was one treatment of stem cell injections, and then the
Mhm.
rest were PRP injections.
Okay.
And definitely my back had never felt that good since I had started getting back pain.
Oh, great.
And then one thing I was a little bit nervous coming to Cal about was the fact that not a lot of people do those injections in your back. So you
Yeah.
have to be very specialized to do that because it's a very tricky area
For
to
sure.
inject.
Mhm.
So Cal didn't have any doctors that were knowledgeable in that area in terms of
Mhm.
PRP. So I
Mhm.
wasn't able to continue getting those injections when I got here, which I think is why my back started to get a little bit worse than what it
Gotcha.
was when I was home.
Yeah.
So I had kind of pushed off my back pain coming into Cal because of those injections, and obviously never would have found out about it if I didn't reconnect with one of
Right.
my friends who had gone on a different college visit with me. And then my freshman year, I remember, so many prayers being said. I was
Mhm.
just sitting in my freshman year dorm room by myself. My roommate wasn't in there. I'm just like sitting on my bed. And I just started thinking, I'm like, what else could I possibly do here with my back? I was kind of at the point where I wasn't training in the gym
Okay.
anymore, basically just going in, stretching, doing spin, some
Mhm.
cardio, core stuff. And then I started thinking that one of the girls who happened to be on my visit here at Cal had a back injury when she was younger. I didn't know what it
Okay.
was. I had no idea. So I decided to reach out to her and ask her what was wrong with her back. And I knew she got surgery. I didn't know what surgery, but I knew she got
Yeah.
surgery. And she started talking and was describing everything I was going through, like to the
Wow.
T, every single thing. And I was like, that's really weird. So, what was like your injury? And it was basically the same thing.
Oh, gosh.
So, that was crazy. And then I asked her if she could get us connected with their doctor, which was in Texas.
Okay.
So, her
Closer
mom,
than Rhode Island or Philadelphia. Yeah.
yeah. So then we ended up reaching out to that doctor, getting connected with him, and he was the first doctor that ever gave me hope with my back. Every other
Um,
doctor I had seen, I would just leave the office crying because it was, you should probably think about your future. Like, where are you
Mm,
going to be after gymnastics? And
yeah.
I didn't like hearing that too much because I just wasn't ready in my heart to give it up quite yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ever since we got connected with the doctor, he was absolutely amazing. Cannot say enough about him. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
It sounds like that was such an encouraging piece for you. If nothing
yes.
else came of it, the fact that you had an advocate that was like, hey, I think we can do something with this, that
Yeah.
positivity of that. I mean, I understand the realistic side of what the doctors were saying, but as a really engaged and enthusiastic athlete that really is driven to do your sport and to do it at that next level, that's a gut check. And that's hard, especially then we go back to like, how old were you at that time? 15, 16, 17 years old?
Yeah.
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 Everything that you had done.
Definitely a scary decision to make in the moment. But
Yeah.
at that point, I was thinking, not even gymnastics. I was thinking, I need to do something so my back doesn't hurt doing daily life. At that point, I
Yeah.
wasn't sleeping well because I just could never get comfortable. I couldn't
Yeah.
like stand for a long period of time. I couldn't sit for a long period of time. It was just painful doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what was really encouraging was the fact that my back issue was very low on my spine
Okay.
because the doctor told me if it was any higher, then he probably wouldn't have recommended me going back into gymnastics. But
Okay.
the spot that it was at, he said was the best case scenario of this injury happening.
Okay, great.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you went ahead and did its spinal fusion, correct?
Yes, there are 4 like flexible rods in my spine, just kind of holding everything together.
Wow. Okay, so just to kind of put this in perspective for the
Yes.
listeners at home, you have 4, you said flexible rods in your
Hmm.
spine, and
Yes.
you just competed last weekend at regionals and competed floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did a really, really, like, what was your score? Like 9,
Nine
what?
nine.
9-9 was her score at regionals. Guys, like, so, okay, I'm just going to say your doctor's brilliant. That's
Yes.
perfect. But also, I mean, your belief in what it is that you're doing is another huge attribute. I really feel like that's probably a big, big piece of it. Like, hey, I am committed to this. I'm going to make this work. And this is really, like you said, in your heart, you weren't ready to give it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So May of 2022 is when you had that surgery. That was
Yeah.
at the end of your freshman year?
Freshman year. Hmm.
So let me go back for a second. How challenging was it for you to be a freshman and not be able to train with your team?
That was definitely challenging. I think when I came in, everything was great. I was
Mhm.
training well. I was super excited. My events felt good. And I felt like I was in a really good place going into the season. And once we started getting closer to the season and just more training was like built up, that's when my back started to almost break down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kind of had to take a step back and have a talk with my trainer at the time
Mhm.
and let her know what was going on and get her opinion on where I should go next. And at that point, I hadn't been connected with the doctor in Texas quite yet.
Yeah.
So it almost felt like the only option was to medically retire. And
Yeah.
I remember sitting in my dorm room with my roommate at the time and just having a conversation with her. And she was always there for me no matter what. She was going to be there to support me, give
Mhm.
me advice in any situation. And I'm so grateful for that. And she was always
Yeah.
there to listen no matter what, too, which was so helpful for me.
Right.
So, kind of, going into sophomore year, then I was also unable to do anything initially because obviously wasn't able to do gymnastics until probably mid-December to late December. And season
Wow.
starts in
Okay.
January.
That would have been that's more than 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months.
Like, yeah, probably like a little over 6 months.
Okay. 6 to 7
Yeah.
months of rehabilitation from the surgery. Did
Yep.
you
And
have did you have fear during that rehabilitation time that this wasn't the right thing to do? Maybe it's not going to get back to where I can compete.
I definitely had those doubts going in, but in the back of my mind, I was telling myself I didn't know if I was going to be able to come back anyway.
Mhm. Yeah.
So at that point, it was I have nothing to lose.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
go out there, try your best, and whatever happens, happens. It's in God's hands. And that's kind of been my motto going through all of it. And if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah. But I also want to say something too, because I think that the the motto that you just spoke of, it's in God's hands. You did the legwork though. You know what I'm saying? So it
Mm-hmm.
is ultimately in God's hands, but you did the elbow grease, like you did the research and all of the pieces fell into place. You could have been completely fearful and scared to
Mm-hmm.
do any of that because I'm sure that was a frightening process, you
Yeah,
know? And I think
definitely
that
was.
yeah, well, that's where your faith had to have been so strong. And when you say it's all in God's hands, I love that because you did the part to step through those opportunities that he gave you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
hard.
definitely all the people in my life supporting me helped push me through those times. And our trainer now as well. So, so amazing. Cannot thank him enough. Really got me through strengthening and getting back as fast as possible, but as safe as possible.
Right. You were ready then to compete in your sophomore season then.
Yeah, I honestly never thought I would touch an event my sophomore season, which was really crazy.
Yeah.
So, again, I started doing actual skills like mid to late December,
Okay.
and we start competing early January.
Oh,
And I got back to beam the fastest out of any event just because it's less like pounding and hard on your
yeah.
body.
Yeah.
And I ended up competing or exhibitioning beam, I
Mhm.
think in February. And that was a really exciting moment for me because I
Yeah.
just didn't think I would actually, like, I just didn't know in the back of my mind if it would ever happen again. I was really hoping that it would, but I just didn't know. And I
Yeah.
remember my coach coming up to me and saying, "You didn't get a spinal fusion for nothing. Like, just go out
Oh,
there and do what you know how to do, have fun with it." And I remember standing there ready to salute the routine, saying, "I have nothing to lose. I'm grateful to be standing here ready to salute this routine." And what was even crazier about that was I was in the eighth spot. So we get like a 4 minute touch before you go and compete. But
okay.
because there's six people in the lineup normally, and then you can possibly do two exhibitions after, there just
Okay.
wasn't enough time for me to like get another touch on the beam. So it's what we call like a cold routine where you
Yes.
just don't have a warm up. And so I ended up doing a cold routine and I hit the routine and stuck my dismount. And as soon as I landed, I was like, I cannot believe I just did that. I like saluted. All of my teammates came sprinting towards me. Everyone was hugging me and
Oh,
crying. And it was
oh,
just such an emotional moment, but it was so surreal. It was amazing.
I mean, like, I wanna cry right now. I like, that's a huge deal because, like, I think I love how you explained it. I mean, you getting ready to salute the routine, meaning getting ready before you salute the judges before you actually do
Yep.
your routine, and telling yourself, "I've got nothing to lose," and then saying, "I'm just so grateful to be here."
Yeah.
And at that point, you're 18, 19 years old,
Yeah. No, it
like,
was
that's big.
amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, and that emotion. I mean, that had to have been a really huge validation for you, the fact that like, it's another I'm not gonna say it's a challenge because I really feel like with you and talking to you that these are really opportunities and you are taking them. You're stepping through them. You're
Yeah.
like, the challenge you're looking at the challenges as opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think that's your mindset of not being able to do your sport for a period of time and potentially being faced with this may not happen for me ever again puts you in a whole different perspective for your experience then and a whole different mindset.
Definitely does. I feel like anytime I'm in the gym getting to train, even on the hardest days, I tend to remind myself I'm grateful to be here because I probably, looking back, a lot of people wouldn't be doing gymnastics still, but I'm still standing here doing what I love to do. And I got 2 more years of that. So
Yeah.
just taking in every single moment and enjoying it.
Yes. Yeah. Tell me about your faith through all of this. What were the low points and maybe a little bit of the high point stuff for you?
Yeah, I think I do a lot of praying, that's for
Mhm.
sure. Just praying for clarification, for guidance, and patience is a big one. Just
Yeah.
letting things fall out the way they should and letting them unfold how they should.
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing for me, is just trusting God, and it's not in my hands. I'm going to do everything I possibly can here,
Yeah.
but ultimately everything is going to play out how it's supposed to. So
Yeah.
knowing that in the back of my mind helped me the most, for sure.
Yeah.
And knowing that he's got me no matter what. And I remember going into surgery thinking that, and knowing that everything was going to be okay in the end. And we
Gosh,
found the right person and all of that.
I love that. I love it. And the whole unfolding and
Yeah.
praying for patience. I think that's a big thing, that we have all these expectations that we want to see ourselves achieve, and we're going to work really hard to do it. And we want to see it happen in a certain way. And I think that's where we get tripped up. So I love that at the ripe old age of 20, you're saying, like, I mean, like there's adults that don't have this kind of perspective. And I hate that you had to go through such a horrendous injury that you had to, and the whole rehabilitation process. But gosh, what a really beautiful gift that all of that brought to you.
100%. I definitely would not be the person I am today without all of the trials that I went through, and learning how to stay patient and trust the process through it all.
Yeah. And as a gymnast, you have to be patient.
Yes, definitely need to be patient.
Like, so much patience. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Trust the process. God's perfect timing, trusting the process. So tell me, you're just now completing your junior year. So you competed sophomore, you've competed junior, you were in the throes of the final kind of pieces of your junior year, which is super exciting. You made it through regionals, and now you're going on to nationals, which is huge.
Yep. We're in the top 8 now. So there are 2 days of competition, and the first day 4 teams compete. And then there's a second session of 4 teams. And from each session, 2 teams will go through to the final 4.
Oh, wow. Do you know who you're competing against yet?
Yes. I think we're competing against LSU, Arkansas, and I'm trying to think. I don't know if I can remember the 4th one. But yeah, there's like 2 sets of the brackets going through to the next one. Oh, and Stanford, actually, because Stanford qualified with us, which is really exciting. So to have 2 teams from Pac-12 go together, honestly, was so amazing to see.
Gosh, I just got chills. Like I see like big things for Pac-12.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Next year, we're not even going to be in Pac-12, which is wild.
Right. That whole thing, the whole deal is changing. Yeah. Yep. What is on your trajectory moving forward? So you'll compete your senior year. Do you have plans outside of that to continue, or where do you see where you see yourself in the next couple of years?
Yeah. So obviously finishing up senior year here next year. And then after that, currently thinking possibly getting hours for about a year or so in the medical field, and getting just some experience there, and then applying to PA school from there. And that's normally like a 2-year program. And then hopefully somewhere in sports medicine there, and just giving back to a community that had helped me so much.
Right. Do you want to be around gymnastics in any capacity, any kind of coaching of any sort, maybe?
I think, honestly, I don't have a specific thing I personally want to be involved in. I think, honestly, a broad range of sports would be pretty cool to see, just like different views from that angle. Yeah. But I think for coaching, I actually did that when I was younger in our gym. I would stay a little bit after practice and coach some of the younger kids, which was pretty cool. But I think for post grad, I don't know if I would necessarily go back into that realm. But definitely love seeing all the girls and doing all of that.
Yeah. What's the one thing that you love so much about your sport and being able to be an athlete at the collegiate level?
It just pushes you so much farther than you ever thought you could go, physically and mentally, that's for sure. And all the lessons that I've learned from gymnastics, I wouldn't be the person I am today without it.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, do you have siblings that do sports as well?
I do have an older brother. He played D1 soccer when he was in college. So he is now 25. Okay. So he's working and he's all set. He's doing great.
Great. Okay. But you're a sporty family. Let's go.
We are.
Aw, I love that. So 5 years from now, you're still going to be on that PA route and that medicine route, right?
Yes. Yep.
Do you want to say maybe in the West, or do you want to say I might go back East, or are you just open to whatever?
I'm pretty open to whatever at this point, kind of where life takes me, figuring that one out and not having something so set in stone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I love that. It's so hard to relinquish control of that for so many of
Yeah,
us, and that we just hang on so tight to be like, this is the plan. This is what I want to see it happen. And
yeah,
we write it down and these are our goals, but you have to have that fluidity around that plan. And I
100%.
think that's where God comes in and does the work, you
Yeah,
know? Like if
exactly.
we are holding so tight, there's no space for that faith and that fluidity and for him to come in and just be a real a piece of that journey for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gosh, Jordan, that's awesome. I mean, and again, I'm going to geek out again because I'm just telling you, 7% of high school athletes in any sport go on to play collegiate on all levels. And like, I want to say maybe 1% play the Division 1. And gymnastics is no joke. No joke.
Definitely no joke.
No joke at all. No joke. Hey, do your parents get to come and see you like at this end of
They,
this year?
yeah, they do. They tend to fly out to some of the meets, and my parents both should be at nationals in Texas. So that'll be really exciting. I'm so excited to
Oh,
see them.
gosh. Okay. I'm going to cross all the things for you. And I can't wait to hear about it and see about it and read about it and
Yes.
touch base with you about it because, God, that's exciting. Has Cal notoriously been in that position before?
We've been a team on the rise the past like 6 years or so.
Yeah.
We qualified to nationals last year, and we're in like the final eight. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to final four, but
Mm.
I think our team has continuously been progressing and just getting more confident in ourselves, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah. And you're a team. Like it sounds like you have a pretty good bond. You said
Yes.
you're of the girls that came in your same year, you guys room together now.
Yes, we do. We all have a house together and we love it.
Oh, it's great. So that bond, like you know each other, you got each other's backs. There's something really to
Yep.
be said about that for a team level to be like that you feel so comfortable being who you are and being that piece of that team because you know that your family, if you will, has they got you. They got you
Yeah,
no matter what happens.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And you got
that's what
nothing to lose.
makes exactly. I think that's what makes our team very special is we all are super close. Never mind
Yeah.
like me and my class being really close, the entire team is very close and
Yeah.
we find joy in being in each other's presence and doing what we love to do every day in the gym, pushing each other. Like I'll look across the gym and see someone do something amazing and I'm like, "Wow, that was awesome." I'm like, "Did you just
Yeah.
see what they did?" And
Yeah.
it just pushes you to be a better version of yourself because you just see all the hard work being put in every day.
Yeah. I love what you just said about the joy of being with each other and in each
Yeah.
other's presence. Like that again, it's just keeping you grounded. It's keeping you in the present moment. That's
Yeah.
it's brilliant. This is I like so many little mic drop moments for me today as like I could be your mom. I'm like the age of your mom. I love it. I'm learning so much, so great stuff about you, and just reaffirming all of those wonderful things about faith and about relinquishing control and just letting it
Hmm.
unfold.
Yeah.
How hard was that for you during the harder times for you? I mean, I know you say you always had that feeling, but was there moments where you went just "Mm,
Yeah, definitely was. And I think that's where my mom, my coach, just everyone surrounding me continued to remind me, hey, you can do this. We're here for you no matter what.
yeah,
Ultimately, it is your decision, but we support you and we know you can do this. And just having people behind me supporting me was the biggest thing to keep going.
yeah." Oh, I love that. I love that. That just affirms everything for you. Gosh,
Yeah.
you have such a great community around you, it sounds like.
Yes. So
Oh,
grateful for all of it.
oh gosh. Are you going to totally miss this? I mean,
Oh, yeah. This 4 years has pushed me so much, has made me grow as well, considering I was so used to just being in Rhode Island, my structured schedule with school, gym, more school at night, and just repeat. And
yeah,
coming to Cal, it's just so different. You learn a different type of time management and how to balance everything. And
yeah,
I've grown so much since my freshman year, just in maturity and learning how to just deal with everything and
Mm-hmm.
compartmentalizing different parts of your life so everything doesn't seem like it's so big.
Right, right. It's that balance. So
Mhm.
when you were growing up and you were training and school and then more training and then more school and
Yeah.
rinse and repeat the same thing repeatedly, did you ever look at other people and get, like, other kids and say, well, I wish that I was doing that, or I wish I was doing this? Is there any regrets if you look back at that?
Looking changed anything,
Mhm.
honestly. Even in the moments that were hard, I knew in the back of my mind I wanted to do that and I wouldn't have changed any of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't have the normal high school experience. I did half days and I would go to the gym and train, come home, watch recorded lectures that my teachers recorded just for me, which was crazy. They
Wow.
honestly were so amazing. The school I had gone to for high school was so accommodating with my schedule, and I cannot thank them enough for that.
Oh, that's great, Jordan. Because
Yeah.
that could have been completely a
Yes.
whole huge piece of a hindrance that would have been really hard to overcome. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And then going to college and then learning how to, I love what you said too about compartmentalizing. It's not about
Hmm.
putting it someplace and putting it away and never bringing it back out, but being
Yeah.
able to put it where it belongs for the time that it belongs there.
Yeah.
And then you go back and take care of it when you have the ability to take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think coming into Cal, I knew the academics were going to be challenging, and I was ready for that challenge, especially because me and actually two of my other roommates all came in first semester, freshman year, and took general chemistry.
Oh,
And we all heard that that was a tough class.
right.
And I think it was very eye opening for all of us just to know, hey, you got to put in the work to do well and be successful here. And
Mhm.
I was definitely excited for the challenge, and it taught me how to study in ways that I maybe hadn't done before.
Yeah.
And I would say in high school, I was very diligent with everything that I did. I did an online program for a while as well, which definitely kept you very task oriented and
Mhm.
organized. So coming into Cal, that really helped me, I think, stay organized in chemistry specifically.
Yeah.
And it was putting in the time and just knowing this is going to take hard work like gymnastics. The academics also are just as hard. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And your gymnastics was just a vehicle to get you to this great education at this amazing
yes,
school, too. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, girl, preach, 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 preach. This is great. I love it. I love it. I want to, before I let you go, though, I want to see another side of your personality. I'd love to do some rapid
Yes.
fire questions with you if you're good with that.
Yes.
Okay. So I will just put a little bit of a misnomer up front. My rapid fire questions tend to be like longer. It's not like super quick. Like somebody told me on the podcast maybe a couple weeks ago, they were like, so this rapid fire question situation is probably like, this is a 5-minute explanation to your question. I'm like, I know. I got to come up with a different name for it, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have some fun question time right now. Okay. All right. Question number 1. What is your favorite food?
Avocado toast. Any of my roommates can tell you that that is a staple in my everyday eating.
Yes.
Always.
Love me some avocado toast. My
Yes.
husband and I were talking about that yesterday. We went to the grocery store and our avocados right now are just like it's hit or miss. Like it's
Uh-huh.
bad. So some of them are good, some of them are bad. But like I found the guacamole spread. I'm like, I've got the solution. We're toasting
Yep.
bread, and the avocados got good. We got the guacamole spread all over it with a little olive oil. Good to
So
go.
good.
Yes, and good for you. Very good for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Question number 2. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you choose to live?
Ooh, this one's a good one. I feel like it would be somewhere near a beach and warm weather. I don't know
Mhm.
if I have a specific place in mind, but something along those lines.
I like that.
Yeah.
We're thinking the same. I'm the same thing. Totally.
Yes.
Totally. Nothing like some sunshine and some
Hmm.
shows.
Yes. Sunset, sunrise on the beach, just nothing better.
Oh, do you get to go and watch the sunrise, sunset? Do you do that regularly?
We do that a lot here, which is really nice. We're not necessarily on the water per
Yeah.
se, but we do have some really good sunsets. Actually,
Yes.
as a team, we did that a few weekends ago, which was really awesome.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing beats a good sunrise or a good sunset at all.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Question number 3. What is your hidden talent?
Ooh, see, I don't know if I would say it's a hidden talent, but I can cook. I
Okay.
don't know, like, I feel like a decent amount of people know that just because when I was younger during COVID, I actually sold meals. So I had like a meal prep business
Oh
and
my gosh.
started doing that, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that right now as an athlete with
Yeah.
your schedule, but like that's a great little side hustle one day, right?
Oh yeah, no, I like was full board with it. Started an Instagram with like post some recipes and stuff,
Oh,
so it was a
wow.
good time.
Oh, I love that. That will come back out in your future, I feel like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely a good
Okay.
skill to have.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I feel like it kind of just depends on like what I'm feeling that day. I
Yeah.
love using the air fryer for things like air fried chicken is so good. Just
Okay.
kind of experimenting with different meals.
I think you need to do a tutorial on the air fryer because I had a client earlier today. We were just having this conversation. She was telling me about what she had made to eat a couple days ago, and she was talking about so she air fryer chicken over some light pasta, and I was like,
Yeah.
air fryer, like we've got one, and I swear it between my husband and me and our 2 daughters at Christmas, it was like a bad SNL skit watching us try to figure out the air fryer. So
Oh
bad.
my gosh, that's really funny.
I mean,
Oh
like
yeah.
none of us have the patience that you do. So I think that if you did a video, we would watch it and we'd be like, oh, she can do that. She's so patient. We can figure that out.
Oh yeah, no, it's so much fun. I feel like it's a nice activity to do to take your mind off of other things.
Right. Cooking, it's therapeutic. It's
It
therapeutic
is.
for
Yeah.
sure. All right. Question number 4. Cannonball into the pool or dip a toe first?
Definitely cannonball. You got to just send it and go in.
Ah! Oh, and rip the band-aid off.
Yes.
Ah, I'm probably the opposite. I'm going to be like at the side of the pool. It's like, or I'll be like, you cannonball in, and I'll be like, stop, I'm getting wet. It's cold. Yeah. Old people problems, I guess. All right. Number 5, last question, and I'll let you go. What quote resonates with you the most?
I think going along with the whole, trusting God's plan. So God has a plan, trust it, live it, enjoy it.
Oh, I love it. You should ink that someplace.
Yes, definitely
Put
need
that
to
up.
do that.
That's a good one. And I think all your whole conversation today it's really been the epitome of that. It's
Yeah.
believe it, trust it, follow it, like dig in and live it. Live it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Girl, keep living it. And good luck at nationals.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, so welcome. And hopefully by the time this airs, we'll be able to put a big picture of like Final Four or champion and
Yes.
all the things, crossing all the things for you.
Yes. Thank
Yay.
you so much again for having me on.
Oh, you are so welcome, Jordan. So nice talking to you. And until we speak again next time, because I'm going to follow your career and
Thank you.
we're going to do a follow-up in your senior year. I can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you so much again.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. If you have an idea for an interview or you would like to share your own story, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message at dawn@thesoulgoals.com. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I'd love for you to leave a review and to consider following and subscribing to the show. With weekly releases, there is always another interesting story to be heard. I do hope that today's guests and their words have helped to bring some extra light to your day and encouraged you to find a deeper space of your very own soul goals. Until next time, friends, remember that everyone has a story and every story matters.